Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Dialogue here on JCN. With me right now is Mr. Jerry Butler, who I have to admit, I was not aware that we had a Bahamian in this incredible position, but he is the Executive Director for the Inter-American Development Bank for the Caribbean region, which is an incredibly prestigious position. I'll just say that. So I'm very honored to have you here on the show. And even more that he's here with me in this fantastic location. We're still here in Eleuthera, in South Eleuthera at the Cape Eleuthera Institute and Cape Systems Incorporated. We've just been a part of listening to all these fantastic things that are coming out of Cape Systems, talking about renewable energy, about this really incredible opportunity for Bahamians to put the Bahamas on the map as one of the leaders in the world for alternative and renewable energy, energy efficiency. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what the IDB's position was on these things. I know you've created some SECI, which sounds very exciting, but tell me what's going on with the bank and how they feel about these sorts of initiatives.
Well, as you're aware, the IDB is probably the oldest of the regional development bank. Last year we did about $9 billion in financing, but we are the reservoir of best practices and knowledge in the region, and we're also the major financier of governments, and now we're moving into private sector financing. One of the impediments to development that we've come to realize is that at $100 a barrel, oil is going to affect how countries grow. And in the case of the Bahamas, where the oil bill exceeds $750 million, if that money or that expense was reduced and those resources could be diverted to productive means, we could have a better country and a better economy. In recognizing that for the Bahamas and other countries, the IDB has initiated a SECI initiative. SECI stands for Sustainable Energy and Climate Change Initiative. The initiative is funded with about $20 million in grant money from IDB resources, plus so far $2.8 million in grant money from the United Kingdom, and we're engaging other countries such as Brazil and Japan to receive some more grant money. Now the initiative has four areas of concentration. Very quickly, the first area is renewable energy and energy efficiency. Okay. The second area is the development of a biofuel sector and economies. The third area is accessing carbon credit financing, which comes on board post 2012. And then the fourth area is climate adaptation. And you know, for the Bahamas, with global warming, etc., climate adaptation is very important to our tourism product, and for us being able to create a competitive tourism environment to continue to attract investment. So the money is there. How to access it? You got to go to our website, or you have to contact Oscar Spencer, who is our country manager at East Bay Street at our office, and we take it from there, where we help you finance a study, and we help you really put together a project that allows you to participate in this very exciting change in where the world is going.
Oh, this is really, and I mean, I do want to stress this. This is, you know, they talk about tipping points and they talk about being on the edge of being able to perceive what true economic opportunity is about. And this is such a fantastic opportunity right here for Bahamians. If you don't know enough about this, there's a world of research that's available online. But if you're already slightly aware of these things and you have an idea that you want to make a reality, please do get in contact with these guys. But I want to talk quickly about two specific points that you talked about there. Perhaps number 3 is the carbon credits. Now, I think this is very exciting because I don't know how much people are aware of this out in the general public. 2012, sort of this concept of trading carbon credits is going to come into the world. And this is, so there's countries which are bad countries and they pollute a lot and they do bad things. And then there are very ecologically and environmentally aware countries who have already made progress. You know, they use wind power, they use hydroelectric power, they're using solar power. And essentially the bad countries, and I'm not being very technical here, are going to pay the good countries for these carbon credits. And this is a real opportunity for the Bahamas as a nation to start making money in totally new market that essentially never existed before. Do you really see that if we are good with doing alternative energy, that this can be something we can be involved with?
De- Definitely. Obviously, in 2012, when the dust settles, this is going to be a very sophisticated market. I must tell you that there aren't necessarily bad countries or good countries, but there may be bad sectors in a country.
In my world,
Or
everything's
good.
black and white. I'm like this. You guys know this. So, but yes, no, I do agree with him.
So sectors in a country that may be involved in polluting the atmosphere, if there's a mining sector, et cetera, those sectors may create a kind of a footprint, a carbon footprint that they want to offset or eliminate. Well, the idea, after all these countries have signed the agreement, and the most advanced industrial country gets on board, will be those. Those sectors or those countries, as you say, they recognize that they need to pay to offset their environmental damage. And who will they pay? Well, they will pay those sectors or those countries who, in essence, are not creating environmental damage, or who are creating a kind of adaptation that mitigates environmental damage. So let's say you're polluting the atmosphere. And there's a calculation of what that pollution base is, and another country or another sector in a country is planting trees that is producing oxygen and absorbing carbon dioxide. Then the simplest way to describe the system is the polluter will pay the person who is planting these trees to do that and for what they're doing, so that offsets their carbon footprint.
And this is already going on at the individual level, and it is interesting, I think, that right now people in a voluntary manner, and the difference will be 2012, it will no longer be voluntary, but right now, if I go on an extensive long flight, my carbon footprint as a person is increased, because everybody knows I've been flying around the world and it's terrible for carbon. So I can go online and I can actually go to certain companies right now, and out of my desire to be a better human in the place of the world, I can go and spend $100 and they will buy trees, or they will plant trees, or they will put this money in towards developing solar power or into developing wind power. And I think this is a really unique opportunity for us here in the Bahamas, for young Bahamian entrepreneurs in particular. If you're looking for something different to do, get on this bandwagon, be one of the leaders that can be out there in helping to create these sectors right here locally, where we're putting the Bahamas at the forefront of these things. The second area which was really your first point, is about this renewable energy and about these things. What would you like to see happen in the Caribbean as a region, and specifically here in the Bahamas? What would be your ideal situation? Because you didn't mention it too much, but there's these areas of energy security, being an island nation, potentially in the future we're going to be even more vulnerable because of transportation lines having to get to us. What would the IDB, or perhaps your individual perspective, be for the Bahamas, where we should be going?
Well, this area, which is renewable energy and energy efficiency, let's not first talk about renewable energy. Let's talk about what affects you and me, energy efficiency, or in a broader context, conservation. Question is, what can you and I do to begin conserving now? Bear in mind, 70% of the energy produced by BEC